Welcome back to the PFPod, the podcast where we break down the action, strategy, and excitement of robotics competitions like FIRST and beyond.
From last-minute pit fixes to championship-winning plays, we're here to talk about what makes robotics more than just a competition.
Whether you're a builder, coder, driver, or just love the energy of a great event, we've got stories, insights, and maybe a few battle scars to share.
So let's gear up, dive in, and talk about the world of competitive robotics.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Season 3 of the PFPod. I'm Max, and today I'm joined with...
Sam!
So today we're going to give a rundown through some college and community advice, kind of how to find your people once you get to school.
We're going to cover how important it is to be involved in a community in college and how PFP and FIRST can be helpful with that, and give some good strategies of how to find a community that you love and whether you're an incoming freshman or you're halfway through your degree. So going from any kind of high school to college can be a huge leap in terms of finding your people. It can be a massive culture shock. You're new to the environment, you're new to the people, you don't know what's going on. So how can you get involved with FIRST as an alumni? We'll start with that.
Yeah, so especially coming into Purdue is kind of scary. There's 40,000 undergrad students. You're kind of a small little fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
So kind of trying to find your community where it's a little bit smaller, kind of subset of that population is really a great way to start. And that's kind of where Purdue FIRST comes into play. A lot of our members are FIRST alumni, but if not, they at least share a passion for giving back to that STEM community. So being able to be a part of PFP, you're able to kind of get that small subset of people who have similar kind of interests within that big pond.
Yeah, and you have like mentoring, volunteering, you have like just me, I just do like media. It's like a creative outlet for me, so you don't even need to be that involved with FIRST.
And you don't necessarily just have to get that through like Purdue FIRST. There's other clubs and organizations around campus. We'll kind of dive into that more later. But definitely trying to find your people in the big C is a really, really important step in those first few weeks of college.
Yeah, and you don't even need to dive into something that you already have a connection with. Like, so many people aren't involved with FIRST and they still come into PFP and they're like, wow, like this is so fun, this is new for me. And so you don't need to find something that you already know. Like, college is an opportunity to start something new.
For sure, for sure. And it also is what you make of it. Obviously, if you go to meetings, you go to the social events, you're much more likely to start kind of making friends and getting to know people. But if you just show up at the very end of meetings here and there, like sporadically, you're obviously not going to have quite as close of a connection. So if you're looking for those connections, it's important you kind of put forth the effort to actually get there.
Yeah, for sure. You want to talk about any other clubs or organizations that you've been involved in? Because I know that I've had a few, but...
Yeah, I know my freshman year I joined a ton of different things. Most of them kind of technical engineering-y based stuff. And I obviously kind of leaned back a little bit. I ended up joining Pi Tau Sigma, which is like the ME Honor Society, partly through college, second semester sophomore year, I think. And that was nice to kind of get together with a bunch of like high-performing ME students kind of thing. So that's something I would recommend. I definitely recommend joining a fun club, something you can kind of enjoy. Like there's an outing club, there's sports different clubs, IMs, different kind of things like that. And then a couple of technical clubs, especially ones in your major, because having those resources, just being in like the ASME Slack and the Pi Tau Slack, you're able to kind of ask for past exams and get advice on different classes to take. Just from like a purely school standpoint, it's helpful having connections that are older than you in your major.
Oh yeah, it's a huge networking opportunity.
And then you also want to be involved in some like kind of service and or technical clubs that kind of add to your resume, just because obviously employers look for you to be doing things at school outside of just school. And that's where things like PFP and even other technical, if you're in the kind of STEM space, or even other service-y, planning, event-y kind of orgs are good to kind of add filler to your resume. Not necessarily doing it just because of your resume, but it's good to kind of get involved in something and kind of also a side benefit of getting that community.
Yeah.
By also giving back to it.
And almost every club I've been a part of has leadership positions, and really they're not that much work. Like some of them definitely take a lot more work and energy, like presidential roles, but for me, I'm a media director and an events director in another club, and that's a few hours out of my week each week, and most of the time it's just like, how do we get involved with other organizations and do like a duo meetup and like play board games together or something like that, or what do I post on Instagram? Like it's really not like that difficult, and I'm creating these friends and this team, and I'm learning how to manage projects and everything, all while having fun. So I love clubs.
Yeah, for sure. And also all the situations you deal with within a leadership role in a club, especially the higher up you get, are directly translatable to work in other parts of life, dealing with conflict, managing time in terms of planning things with interdependencies. All that stuff is directly applicable to all sorts of other things in your life. And obviously when you're going for interviews or doing stuff, having that experience is great. For example, to be like, tell me about a time you had to deal with conflict when like leading a group. And like, oh, since I've been involved in PFP's leadership, I have all sorts of concrete examples I can give about how I kind of resolve
Well,
issues
I wouldn't
like
say
that.
you have all sorts of conflict in PFP, but like it is important though, because you're meeting people that you've never met before, and so you don't know how everyone is going to interact with you, and there's going to be conflict sometimes, but like ultimately, again, you have that community and you have your support system, and like if something happens, you can usually learn how to figure it out with everyone. And I mean, it is huge for interviews, and people want to know that you're involved with other things. That's one of the biggest things that I've learned when I go to like career opportunity center employees. I'm like, what do you want to know? And they, while they do, yes, they want to know you have good grades and you know how to study and you know your major and everything. They also want to know that you can get involved with people outside of your major, so you have the ability to network and talk to people. They want to know that you have those leadership skills or those teamwork skills, at least even if you're not a leader, you still are doing something for a club and you're participating in your community, because companies want that. They want to show that they can do that as well with people like you. And like volunteer hours is great. They want to know that you have that sense of community from that standpoint. So that's another reason why PFP is really great. You get so many volunteer hours and they love that.
Yeah. And obviously clubs come and go. You've been involved in lots of different things, but we've obviously both stuck with PFP now that we're here as seniors. So is there anything kind of that led to you to kind of sticking around and continuing to come back year after year?
I think for me specifically, because for those of you who don't know, I'm an environmental science major, so I'm not really looking for anything engineering-wise, but I think having this ability to reach out to people that aren't in my typical network is super important, and like I have met other environmental scientists at first competitions, and that's been a super cool networking opportunity that other people in my major would never have received because they are never in this environment. And I think just on top of that, like this specific org has been so fun, and I love the people here. But we're very involved. We're spending time together every single week. A lot of the weekends throughout the school year, we do a lot of socials beyond that. So like, we especially go out of the way to bring everyone together. Where some of my other clubs, it's like, yeah, they like environmental science club. I'm not really involved with them, but every once in a while, like they'll go on a hike each month, and like that's fun. But I'm busy those weekends, so it's like that doesn't really work for me. PFP just has so much to offer, and like, no hate to the environmental science club, love them. But there are just like, there's so many clubs, there's so much time. Sometimes you just got to pick the ones with like, how do I keep building that community?
For sure. And it's super rewarding being able to go out on those weekends and volunteer and give back to the community and kind of help kind of support that next generation of STEM students. It's always very rewarding. And also you get to make some great friends alongside doing so, which is always great. And especially one of the benefits of PFP is there's always things happening. I feel like we have an event going on almost every weekend, especially in the spring semester. So even if you can't go here and there, if you can always find a time when you can to go. So it's always great.
It's also fun to kind of interact with other clubs as well. Like I said, I'm an events director for another club, and I'm currently working on getting PFP to do a board game night with them. But yesterday with that club, it's the Liberal Arts Student Council, we did a smash board. So we just like had these ceramic plates and we just smashed them, relieve some stress. And it was just like, there was like 6 of us, and it's such a small club, but we're all friends and we're gonna do just fun things like that. And Purdue offers so many fun things like that, where we just reached out to the well-being place and we're like, hey, can we do this? And they're like, yeah, of course. So there are resources outside of the clubs too. It's really cool for networking.
For sure. Is there anything else you're involved in outside of PFP?
Well, yeah, the Liberal Arts Student Council, like I mentioned. Yeah, and I've sort of, with the Environmental Science Club, I'm kind of like an outsider, but like I look at their messages and I'm like, oh, I love you guys. And then every once in a while, I'll support the Purdue Climate Action Coalition. That was more, when I had more time last year, I worked on them a lot more, but mostly they're just trying to get Purdue to get a climate action plan going, because we're one of the only Big Ten schools that doesn't have one. Yay!
Yeah, and
it's bad. But that's been super exciting. And then I also did, I was a BGR leader, which BGR, for those of you who don't know, is Purdue's like big orientation program. And that was probably one of the best programs I've ever done. It was a few weeks out of my life, do some training, lead some new students in. But like, I've made some of my closest friends ever during that week. You learn how to be a good person, essentially. Like, you learn how to have an open mind. You become vulnerable with one another. Like, it is such a unique experience I haven't had with any other organization. And even as a student, as you're entering, like, it might not be your cup of tea, but if you can be a leader in it, like, you learn like leadership skills that you would not learn anywhere else.
Yeah, and while it's great to be involved in all sorts of different clubs, you obviously don't want to bite off more than you can chew. And I've been there for sure.
Me too.
Having meetings every single night, all back to back to back, and it's just like, oh my goodness. But sometimes you have to make some prioritizations and pick a few organizations to actually really dive deep into in terms of involvement. And you can still be in some other ones, see those Slack messages. I'm in a few of those too, where I like get the little Slack messages. Oh, that'd be cool to go to, and then just kind of move on with the day.
Yeah.
But obviously, you only have so much time in the day, and other things are priorities as well, like school itself, working out, eating healthy, other odds and end errands. Like, you obviously can't do everything all the time. So kind of picking and choosing your battles where you want to go is obviously really important. Oh, you mentioned BGR as a way to kind of get involved. And at the tail end of BGR is a great way to find some of those student orgs. So there's a big thing called the Be Involved Fair, which happens either on Memorial Mall or by the IM Fields. And all the student orgs at Purdue essentially come out and have a table, and they talk about what they do. And you can kind of go around and walk the halls or the pathways through the kind of area and kind of get to know different clubs on campus. They sort them by category, so you could be like, I'm interested in finding a service org. And you can walk through the 50 service orgs that are there and kind of see what's your cup of tea. And that's really a great way to go. I would definitely recommend doing some research beforehand. Obviously, there's a ton of clubs at Purdue, and a lot of them kind of vary in terms of scope. So obviously, there's webs like on the Purdue Boiler link, you can look through all the different clubs and see kind of what might be of interest to you. And then you can kind of go to the Be Involved Fair with maybe a list of 20 or so clubs. I'm interested in these and you can go get more information. So instead of having to go through the whole thing, it's a little bit less daunting.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is fun, though, to walk around and kind of just get a random one, too, here and there. Because I've been involved in some clubs like, oh, you have like a beekeeping club? I'm interested in that. Like, there's ways you don't have to necessarily go into it knowing you want to be in it, but definitely having a little bit of a background is always good.
Yeah, and it is intimidating. Like, there are hundreds of clubs at Purdue, and it takes up the entire IM Fields. It is daunting. I do agree. Definitely come with some ideas of what you're interested in. Go by the order, categorize. If you have social anxiety and like that amount of people and like it's a very overwhelming environment, feel free to DM or email these clubs. Again, Boiler Link has every single club available. You can also usually just find their Instagram or something, and they're totally willing to answer whatever questions you have. You can show up in the middle of the semester. It's fine. They just want to know that you want to be involved with them because you have similar interests.
Yeah, if you reach out to us about wanting to be involved in Purdue First, we'll make sure that happens, regardless of when in the semester. Yeah. Maybe you won't be able to necessarily mentor that year if it's already underway, but if you want to just be a part of PFP, it's never too late at any point in the year. So feel free to reach out. We're happy to get you involved.
Yeah, and you can just kind of learn the ropes of everything. You don't even have to, you're not committing to anything by showing up to a meeting either. And that goes for every club. So it's really, yeah.
It doesn't hurt to go once and see if you don't like it,
Yeah, and I do suggest trying out things. Go to call-out meetings at the beginning of semesters and see what every club has to say and what they do for themselves. But some of the call-out meetings can be a little boring, and it's because, they're up there, they're presenting, and they're like, here's what we do, and you're just like, okay, but I'm sitting here, I'm doing nothing right now. And you have to remember, this is a call-out meeting. They're trying to advertise. This isn't what the club really is like. I know for PFP call-outs, it's I go up there and I'm like, here's my presentation, blah, 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 and that's that. I just have to hope someone will join the media team. But, during actual meetings, it's so much more fun. We have an hour where we, play a game or, have some kind of bonding experience. And then for the next hour, we work on a project. And, not every club lasts 2 hours long each night. But I think that there are just a lot of different setups for a lot of different clubs. And you just have to remember that the call-out meeting, it gives you a taste, but it's not the whole meal.
For sure. And yeah, in those first few weeks of your freshman year are obviously a lot going on. So I definitely recommend, a lot of clubs will hand out flyers with all the different call-out dates, which is just a meeting where their club's leadership kind of gives a general spiel about what they do to prospective new members. Not really just kind of a, here's what we do sort of meeting that a lot of clubs have at the beginning of the year. But a lot of them will run a few throughout the first couple of weeks, so kind of getting all those posted, the ones you're interested in, and trying to schedule ones that don't overlap, because obviously sometimes they do overlap, and that's hard. But don't be afraid if you say, oh, I can't make your call out, but I'm still interested. They'd also be happy to reach out, and that goes with PFP or pretty much any club on campus. But definitely kind of spending those first few weeks intentionally, trying to make friends, trying to kind of get out and just, I've always, I sat in my dorm's little floor lounge and just sat and did homework and stuff, and people just kind of come in and sit next to me, and we kind of get to talk and get to know each other. So as someone who kind of came into school a little introverted, a little bit kind of scared to kind of get out there and make a bunch of friends, but obviously knew that was important to having fun in college, you have to just kind of make that conscious effort to be okay, I need to go out and kind of start getting to talk to people. And obviously, every single person there is in the same boat.
Yeah.
It's very few people come in with a lot of friends. Even if they do, they're more than willing to kind of make new friends, especially a lot of those high school friend groups that kind of come to college still want to branch out and make new friends as well, even if they have some friends here. So
Yeah.
everyone's in the same boat of like, oh my gosh, this is so daunting. This is a big change. I need to find my people. So don't be afraid just to reach out, because they are also wanting the same thing. So
I'd say another huge part of this, which wasn't originally part of the script, but like a huge important part of making friends is going to class and like actually meeting the people that you're gonna have classes with for the next 4 years. I know that at least my first semester I really struggled with like going to class, because being around so many people in large lectures really did stress me out. But once I started going and like really started like sitting in the same spot, I started talking to the people next to me, and like I'm now friends with these people. Like I go out with these people, and it's great. Like I regret not doing this earlier on, so I really like, please meet people, reach out to them, be like, hi, this is my name, it's so nice to meet you, want to hang out later, do homework. Like you can make an excuse for everything.
yeah, finding people in your classes to kind of become friends with, do homework together is so huge, especially with like a lot of like technical STEM-y homework. It's like there's a right answer and there's a wrong answer.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so easy just to like screw up a calculation or mess up a principle. So having people to kind of compare notes with and kind of be like, oh no, you actually divided here instead of multiplied. Obviously, some of the more like liberal artsy classes are just more kind of subjective, but it's still nice to kind of get people's perspective on things as well. So
Yeah, especially because the liberal arts classes, a lot of those are very communication based, and if you don't know how to make friends or how to talk to people, you can't participate in the activities. And a lot, like, those are the activities. That's what you get graded on. You have to know how to talk to people and like introduce yourself. And it also just makes the activity so much more fun, because you don't want to be in a group project with people that you don't know, because then you're like, oh, not only do I have all this work, I also have to meet people, and that can be like socially and emotionally very daunting. So if you already know the people, then it works.
And having someone you could just shoot a text to be like, hey, I can't make a lecture today, can you let me know what happens?
Yeah,
is
exactly.
super invaluable.
Or they'll help with attendance.
Yeah. So yeah, but obviously going to class is good, but also going to all the different opportunities the clubs have. Most of them have a ton of different social events, hangouts, things like that. And obviously if you want to go and make friends, the easiest way to do it is to just go to those things and be there.
Yeah.
The more you're there, the more people will get to know you. So do you have any kind of socials we've done in the past that were particularly fun, kind of looking back on, anything standing out there?
I'd say maybe like the bowling socials that we've done. Honestly, any of the like socials that we do like before the meetings have been really fun, and I feel like I get to talk with everyone and the other sub teams that I wouldn't normally get to talk to. Like I don't ever really interact with like the mentors, but when they come to our part of our meeting where we play a board game, we play PF Pictionary, stuff like that, like I'm getting to know their humor, I get to know a little bit more about their major, what they're doing, and I just, you get to bond.
And that's a really great point. When you join a club, there's lots of different sub-teams within each club. So not only are you picking what clubs to join, once you get into the club, there's different groups within the club you have to decide. So there's obviously a lot of decisions you have to make. And a lot of the different orgs are kind of flexible. You can kind of bounce around to a few different ones. You're not say dead set on picking one. But kind of finding your niche within that club is a really great way to kind of even get closer and closer to make you want to make your circle in the big school smaller and smaller and smaller until you have that kind of core group you're able to kind of talk to, get to know, and it's kind of, then you could branch out from there. But finding that small little dot and then working out is you then finding the big dot and working in.
Yeah, true. And like invite your friends to come to club meetings with you, come to club call-outs, and maybe they'll want to join your little circle too, and then your circle gets even bigger and it's even more fun, because then they'll invite their friends and you keep inviting yours, and it's yay fun.
Yeah. And there's plenty of other ways to kind of get that community around Purdue. A lot of like different dorms have like different floor events and like things around like kind of that residential side of life where the RAs will play on events. You can go to people on your dorm floor, or just like, I know I was involved in honors, so we had a ton of different like honors events that kind of help find those communities, like going to the McCutcheon pancake night. There's different things around campus that are kind of always happening. It's so easy just to stay in your dorm and be like, I'm tired, I don't want to do anything, but make the effort to go out and make friends, meet new people, especially those first few weeks. It's just those first, I keep on emphasizing that. I don't want to make it seem like it's daunting. That first month of school is a big change. It's a lot. And it's so easy to just be like, I'm stressed, I'm scared, I'm tired, and just stay in and sit in your dorm and like scroll on your phone, which is fine to do here and there, but making that effort to kind of go out and make your community early on sets you up so much better for the remaining few semesters.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, I know I have some people I know who, like, don't necessarily have a ton of friends, kind of, and I feel like their college experience was a lot different than mine when I was able to kind of make a ton of great friends and kind of find those communities through PFP and other things, and it really kind of made me really enjoy my college experience, and I really want that for all of our lovely viewers.
Oh, yeah. I think also an important part is to remember that the people you're going to first meet probably won't be your friends throughout the rest of college, because those are the first people you've met at a huge amount of people. And you might experience some insane stories about these people, and you're going to have to be like, you're going to have to learn how to cut people off. Or you're going to be like, wow, this is my best friend for life, and you're going to end up being friends with that person until you're dead. And there's really, like, no telling, but don't have the expectation of the first person I meet is going to be my best friend forever. There's a possibility you'll meet them and then never talk to them again. And that's perfectly normal. It's perfectly okay. Don't internalize those kinds of things. Don't act like it's rejection. Treat it more as just like, all right, that was an opportunity to learn how to talk to people, and now I'm going to keep applying these skills to meet new people, meet new friends. And it will get better.
That's a really, really great point. A lot of people's friends kind of freshman year are friends from convenience. They live down the hall from them. They're in their BGR group, stuff like that. And I obviously still talk to them. It's like so friendly. We hang out every once in a while. But as we kind of separate and kind of get into your major and get into more kind of things, you find your people that you truly are like, these are my people.
Yeah.
And while you still like care about and love your friends from freshman year and you still talk to them here and there, it's like they're not your core group anymore because things evolve over time. And obviously things are constantly evolving, things are constantly changing. It's been like that probably in high school. Other times you met people. So making sure you're not say, this is my friend, we're going to be friends forever. Because sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you realize something that's maybe not so great and you're like, don't love that. Yeah. Don't love that about you. And you have to be kind of professional, not professional, but be nice and respectful, and don't just be like, I hate you now, we're never friends, but kind of slowly fading away a little bit. And
or just having a conversation.
Yeah, obviously being direct is
you're like, hey, that made me
good.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, like I don't know if we should hang out. But yeah, there's different ways to go about doing things, but obviously make sure you respect other person's feelings and don't just be, I hate you, you're mean and yucky.
I think our point with this, though, is like, put yourself first. Like,
yes.
Obviously, like, don't put yourself first so much that you're not hanging out with people. Like, go out and meet people for sure, but find your morals, your values, your ethics, and find people that match that. And if someone isn't, like, you'll learn a lot about how to set boundaries for yourself, for other people, and, I mean, that it's worth it, because then the people you end up with are a lot better than the people you started with. Maybe that's personal experience, but also, like, respecting yourself and taking care of yourself is so important too, because when you're involved in so many clubs, at least like I am, like, you do get stressed and you need to make sure you're staying up on sleep. You need to make sure that you're not burning out. Like, if you need to be in therapy, go to therapy. If not, like, find a craft that calms you down, or find like a comfort show to watch or something like that, and make sure you're eating healthy. Like, your nutrients are so important to your mental health as well. And while I'm also saying, again, like, make sure you're still hanging out with people. Don't let FOMO control you. Continue to take care of yourself. You don't have to say yes to everything. That's one thing I've definitely had to learn, is like, I'm like, oh, like, I'm really gonna miss out on this one event if I don't go. And then like 2 years later, I'm like, I don't even know what that was. But I'm glad I didn't burn myself out that week, because I was so drained already. I needed to take a night to myself and just like stay in, not worry about what other people are doing, because I will get another experience another time. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm a big proponent of never saying no, always kind of just rallying to the occasion. But sometimes you have to know yourself and realize, I do not want to do this. I'm tired. I can't. But it should be, you know yourself, and you're like, no, I can't do it to this time, and not always being no. I think that's the important thing.
No, I do agree with you. Like, say yes. Try, if someone's like, hey, want to go try this new thing with me, don't be scared. Say yes. Go try something. Get a new experience in. But if you don't have the time for it, you don't have the energy for it, say no. You're allowed to do it another time.
For sure. But, yeah, and everyone, especially here at Purdue, is very friendly. I feel I haven't really met too many bad eggs. I feel like everyone's very welcoming and outgoing. So don't be afraid just to shoot your shot and kind of be out there and be bold and get to know people.
Yeah, I'd say, like, be, like, authentically yourself. Don't try to put on any kind of, like, mask and be like, oh, look how funny and silly I am. And then, like, deep down, like, maybe you're not funny and silly, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to be. I think it's just important to, like, come across as yourself. Again, like I said, be honest about what your interests are, and you don't know what your interests are, that's why you should join clubs, find your community, figure out what your interests are, join a club you've never even, like, join crochet club if you've never tried crocheting before, try out that skill. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you'll find friends there, even if you don't go back to the club.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know it's scary and daunting, kind of, wow, you're at school, there's a lot of things going on, you're away from home, you have class, you have new people, you're staying in a bed you haven't known, there's a lot going on, and that's totally understandable. And it's like the last thing you want to do is just put yourself out there and be bold and make your community. But at the same time, that's what's most able to help you make that transition. Having people to go to the dining hall with, to walk around campus. It makes it a whole lot less scary to have someone by your side.
Oh, for sure. I'm a big fan of the buddy system. But there's also no issue with, like, eating by yourself either. But it's nice to have friends, and that's mostly our point here. There's also, if you end up at Purdue, Midwestern friendliness is real. People are so sweet here, even if we have a lot of resting, tired faces. We're tired college students, but you come up to someone, they'll smile, they'll say hi. This is my name, this is my major. Again,
Bless
you. But yeah, just talk to people in general. I'd say that's our biggest advice. Make friends.
Yeah. Yeah, that community is such a great part about school. It's really why I love my college experience. And as that's kind of dwindling, only, 8 weeks left now, I'm really kind of going to miss all my great friends and my experience here. So take advantage of it. Savor those moments because it'll go by quick. And it's sad. But with that being said, I might be parting soon, but we're also parting this episode. And
PF parting is such sweet sorrow.
We'll see y'all next time.